This is Jennifer McGuire, and this video shows making a very simple mini photo book. I wanted to create a little photo book to give to my girl who's going away for camp, and thought I'd go ahead and shoot a video of how I did it. This is really fast and easy, so you can make a bunch of these at once. I put in photos and little notes. It's real easy to do. The outside of the photo book is actually using grunge paper. It's like grunge board. It's from Tim Holtz, but it's a little bit thinner. It's real flexible and durable, and it's great to make quick little albums. And here I'm just covering it with my favorite paint dabber color, which is Stream. So I'm just going to cover it with this paint, and you can put it on real thin and it gives a nice coat. It works wonderfully. So you can see I'm just covering all parts of it. Now to make my book, this is the Bindery Tool from Seven Gypsies. This is the coolest tool. I really like this. It punches holes perfectly and it puts it through many layers at once. Now Seven Gypsies has videos showing all the tips and techniques for using this. It's very easy. I would recommend checking them out, but I just wanted to show you how I did it. Now I've put a little mark here. Where that little mark is, I added that with the Sharpie on where I like to punch for making these 4x6 photo books. You just kind of play around with it, and also that video at Seven Gypsies shows ways to do it. But this is how I use this the most, so I went ahead and made a mark. So you can see I first punched one hole, and then I put it on the hook and created the other hole. So now it went through both of those pieces of grunge board with no problem, or grunge paper, sorry. Now I've got a stack of a bunch of 4x6 photos that I had printed. I like to keep stacks of those around. I always get extras for things like this. Now when I punch that little button on the top, it's battery powered, or you can plug it in, and it just goes right through it like butter. So I went through all of those photos really easily. Now I'm going to do the rest of them. So this tool is just nice to have. I use this for hole punching a bunch of things I tear out of catalogs and for my idea books. And anytime I need a hole punch, I do it. There's little marks on where, the holes would be punched. It actually punches 2 at a time, but I'm only punching 1 at a time now. But there's a lot of great things you can do with it, and I highly recommend checking out the videos on Seven Gypsies' website. Plus, they have a bunch of ideas on how to use them, so there's a lot to see there. So now that I've put my book together, I'm addicted to rounding corners. I think it gives a real nice finish to these albums. I know my girl will just throw this in her suitcase, in her backpack, so I wanted to round the corners so that it doesn't get as beat up. And this is the corner chomper, and you can see it goes through a bunch of things at once. So between these tools, it makes this album really quick and easy to go through. So now I'm going to show you how I made that little closure. I've cut these pieces from grunge paper that you can see here, these 2 small pieces, and painted them, and I put some double-sided tape here, and I'm adhering this larger piece to the back of the album. I've got both the front and the back of the album lined up there. Now this will be the piece that I tuck the flap onto, or under, I'm sorry. And I'm just going to temporarily adhere this in place so that I can just have it held there until I put the brads through it. Now you can use any kind of paint for this technique, but I find these dabbers work really well with just one quick coat. So now I'm going to use these American Crafts brads. I love these because they've got the rhinestones in them. They're just real high quality and they're durable. They're not wimpy little brads, and so they're good for something like this. So you can see how that piece gets tucked under there now. It's an easy and quick closure. You can do all kinds of different things, but I like this one because it doesn't end up being too bulky or whatever. It's real simple. Now I've got these little hooks that I'm going to put through the holes in the album. You could also use ribbons, but I find that it flips real easy with these little rings on here. And so there's the finished little album. Now I wanted to decorate the front, and I just used some pieces I had left over from some other projects. These were with my silhouette, which I just love. And this is my foam inking tool from Ranger, and I'm just forcefully dabbing this with some orange distress ink. I think it's the dried marigold or spice marmalade. I'm not sure which, but one of the oranges. And I'm just not rubbing it because I don't want to break my little die cut, but I'm just dabbing it to get lots of color on it. Once in a while I go in with my silhouette and I cut a ton of pieces in white and then just save them, and then I can ink them up any color I want. So it saves some time for me. So I went ahead and adhered that little flourishy thing, and now I'm adhering a butterfly that I enhanced with some Hero Art stamping and some distress ink, and it's also cut from the silhouette too. So I'm just going to glue this all on here. Now I like to put a coating on my albums because I know that my girls throw them in their bags and they kind of get beat up. So there's lots of things you can use for a finishing touch, but I thought a shiny coat would be fun on this one. So this is Glossy Accents from Ranger, and I'm using an acrylic mount to spread it out evenly. And that's one way you can do it. You can use a brush, you can use all kinds of different tools, but usually I like to get down and just use my fingers because it gives a nice even spread. So here's the finished album, and you can see I also, by the way, that little rub-on is from Basic Gray. So it's just something easy you can create, and you can make a bunch of them at once. If you have questions, just visit my blog on jennifermcguire.com.